Tonight's story is about Stull Cemetery, a graveyard in Kansas said to be a gateway to hell. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and stay with us. Now, let's begin tonight's tale.
The road to Stull was silent, the kind of silence that pressed against your eardrums until you could hear your own pulse. The car's headlights sliced through the thick Kansas fog, revealing only glimpses of the cracked asphalt and gnarled trees lining the road. Emma tightened her grip on the steering wheel. "Almost there," she murmured, glancing at her phone's GPS, though the signal had vanished miles ago. Her younger brother, Tyler, leaned forward from the back seat, eyes wide. "You think the stories are real?" Her friend Caleb, sitting shotgun, smirked. "You mean the one about Stull being a doorway to hell? Please, it's just a graveyard." Emma forced a small laugh, although her heart wasn't in it. She had grown up hearing whispers about the cemetery, how the devil himself appeared there twice a year, and how those who mocked the legends sometimes vanished into thin air. The rusted gate came into view, hanging crookedly between two stone pillars. A weather-worn sign read, "Stull Cemetery, ested 1677. Beyond the gate, moonlight bathed the gravestones in a pale glow. Many were cracked or toppled, devoured by ivy and time. The skeletal remains of a church stood at the center, its roof collapsed, its bell tower gone. Locals claimed that when the wind passed through its ruins, it screamed like the damned." Caleb grabbed his camera. "Let's make this worth the drive. A night investigation at the gateway to hell could go viral." Emma hesitated. The air here felt wrong. Thick, electric. The smell of wet earth mixed with something faintly metallic. She glanced toward the church and froze. A shadow moved. It wasn't the flutter of branches or a trick of light. It was tall, deliberate, sliding behind the church wall. "Did you see that?" she whispered. "Probably an animal," Caleb said, though his tone faltered. Tyler stepped closer to the gate, his flashlight trembling in his hand. "Guys, look!" On the ground before the gate lay a dead crow, its wings spread wide, its eyes missing. And carved into the dirt beside it was a symbol, a spiral of black ash. Caleb frowned. "Okay, that's creepy. Someone's probably trying to scare people off." But Emma wasn't listening. Her gaze was fixed on the church door. It had begun to open, slowly, silently, though no wind stirred. From the darkness beyond came a whisper, so soft it might have been imagined. "Welcome home." Emma's flashlight flickered violently, and for a split second she saw it, a figure standing inside the church. It was tall, impossibly thin, its face hidden behind something that looked like a deer skull. The light died completely, and in that suffocating blackness, the whisper came again, closer this time, right behind her ear. "You shouldn't have come here, Emma." Emma stumbled backward, her breath catching as her flashlight sputtered back to life. The beam danced wildly across the crumbling gravestones, but the church doorway now stood empty, the figure gone, as if it had never been there. Caleb laughed nervously. "Okay, someone's definitely messing with us. Come on, let's check it out." "Check it out?" Emma snapped. "Didn't you hear that voice?" Tyler's face had gone pale. "It said your name, Emma." She swallowed hard, eyes darting toward the church. The wind had picked up now, howling through the ruins. The sound wasn't like any wind she'd heard before. It carried a low hum, almost a chant. Caleb, ever the skeptic, pushed open the creaking gate and strode inside. The others followed reluctantly. Gravel crunched beneath their feet as they crossed the overgrown path. The moonlight bled through the fog, outlining the church's broken silhouette like a wound in the night. Inside, the air was heavy with rot and damp earth. Moss clung to the stone walls, and shattered pews were strewn across the floor.
At the front stood a half-collapsed altar, its surface marked with deep scratches. Tyler's flashlight caught something etched into the altar stone, a pentagram surrounded by faded Latin text. "Caleb, look at this." Caleb moved closer, brushing off the dust. "Porta inferni apparitur hic." He squinted. "That means the gate of hell opens here." Emma's skin prickled. Suddenly, the ground trembled, faintly but unmistakably. The candles scattered across the floor, long unlit, began to flicker to life, one by one, their flames unnaturally blue. Tyler let out a choked sound. "That's not possible." Caleb raised his camera, trying to capture it, but the screen only showed static. "What the hell is wrong with this thing?" Then the air shifted, colder, denser. Emma's breath came out in visible clouds. A whisper echoed through the ruins, circling them, impossible to pinpoint. "One step closer, and you'll never leave." Emma's flashlight caught movement, a shape crawling along the wall, shadow without a source. It slithered toward the ceiling, then split into several smaller forms, writhing like black serpents. Tyler screamed as one darted across his leg, leaving behind a mark, a spiral burn identical to the one they'd seen outside. "Emma, we need to go!" he cried. But Emma couldn't move. Her eyes were locked on the altar, where something was slowly emerging, a hand, pale and skeletal, pushing up through the stone as if the grave itself were giving birth. The candles flared violently. A voice, deep, ancient, and furious, boomed through the church. "You dare enter the gate uninvited!" Caleb grabbed Emma's arm, yanking her toward the exit. They bolted through the doorway just as a thunderous crack split the air behind them. The church's ruined walls shuddered, and from within came a sound like 1,000 screams rising at once. Outside, the fog had turned blood red, and somewhere beneath the ground, the earth began to breathe. They stumbled through the graveyard, gasping for air as the red fog thickened around them. Every breath burned like smoke. The ground seemed to pulse beneath their feet, soft and unsteady, as if they were running across the chest of some vast, sleeping creature. "Keep moving," Caleb shouted, dragging Tyler by the arm. "Don't stop." But Emma stopped. Something in the fog was whispering, not words, but a melody. A soft, haunting lullaby that seemed to curl around her mind like a vine. "Emma," Tyler cried, tugging her sleeve. "Come on!" She blinked, dazed. The fog parted briefly, revealing a faint outline of gravestones, hundreds of them, stretching farther than before. It was as though the cemetery had grown, expanding endlessly into the dark. "This wasn't here," Emma whispered. "This isn't how it looked when we came in." Caleb spun around, scanning their surroundings. "Maybe we got turned around, just—" His words froze in his throat. Ahead of them, a figure stood between two leaning tombstones, tall, motionless, and cloaked in shadow. The outline was unmistakable, the same horned silhouette from inside the church. The figure tilted its head. Its eyes glowed faintly beneath the skull mask, two burning coals of crimson light. Caleb lifted his camera, trembling. "Stay back," he warned, though his voice cracked. The lens focused for half a second before the camera sparked violently and died. The screen went black, smoke curling from the edges. Then the thing spoke. "You opened the door. You cannot unmake what's been invited." Its voice seemed to come from everywhere at once, from the fog, from the earth, from the inside of their skulls. Tyler screamed and bolted toward the gate. "We have to get out!" "Emma, wait!" Emma shouted, chasing after him, but the fog moved like a living thing, coiling between them, cutting her off. She could barely see Caleb's outline now. "Emma!" Caleb's voice echoed faintly. "This way!" She turned in circles, panic clawing at her throat. Shapes began to form in the mist. Faces twisted in agony, mouths open in eternal screams. Hands reached from the ground, skeletal and desperate, clutching at her ankles. Emma stumbled, falling to her knees. The soil was warm, pulsing, breathing. When she looked down, she saw eyes opening in the dirt, staring up at her. "No," she whispered, trying to pull free. "This isn't real. Real enough to keep you." Something yanked her backward. Caleb, his face ghost pale. "Don't listen, just run." They sprinted through the graveyard, dodging graves that seemed to shift and rearrange themselves. The fog thinned just enough to show the gate ahead, but Tyler was nowhere to be seen. "Tyler!" Emma screamed. "Where are you?" Silence. Then, faintly, from deep within the fog, his voice. "I found it," he said softly. "The door." Emma froze. The sound came from behind them, from the direction of the ruined church. And as they turned, they saw it. The church now stood whole again, glowing with hellish red light, its doors wide open. And Tyler was walking inside. "Tyler!" Emma screamed, tore through the fog, her voice raw with terror. She sprinted toward the glowing church, but the closer she got, the more the ground seemed to tilt beneath her. The old ruins were no longer ruins. They had been restored to their former shape, stone and wood shimmering as if woven from fire and shadow. The bell tower loomed once more, though no bell hung within it, only darkness. Caleb caught up to her, grabbing her arm. "Emma, stop! Look at it! That's not real! It's not him!" But Emma could see her brother's silhouette framed in the doorway, motionless, bathed in crimson light. "He's inside! I can't just leave him!" The air around them vibrated with an unholy hum. The candles that lined the graveyard flickered to life again, each one a flame of deep blood red. From the shadows between the tombs, faint shapes began to stir, human-like figures, faces melted, eyes hollow. They crawled forward, their bodies twisted, whispering in low, broken voices. "Join us. He waits below. The gate must feed." Caleb swung his flashlight toward them, but the beam flickered and died. "Oh God, Emma, we have to go!" "I'm not leaving him!" she yelled, breaking free and racing into the church. The air inside was thick and hot, like stepping into a furnace. The walls seemed to breathe, the stone pulsing faintly beneath her touch. Tyler stood before the altar, staring down into a hole that hadn't been there before, a black pit in the center of the floor from which a sickly red glow pulsed like a heartbeat. "Tyler," she whispered, approaching slowly. "We have to leave, okay? Whatever that is, it's not real." He turned toward her, and her breath caught. His eyes were blank, glowing faintly red. His mouth moved, but his voice was not his own. "He calls to me. He says I can see Mom again." "What? Tyler!" A roar erupted from the pit, a sound so deep it shook the walls. The altar split in two, revealing symbols burning beneath it. Emma grabbed Tyler's arm, trying to pull him away, but an invisible force slammed her backward into the wall. Caleb burst in through the doorway, shouting her name. He grabbed a piece of broken wood and swung it toward the pit, as if that could do anything. The air exploded with a deafening shriek, and the flames turned white hot. Something was rising, massive and shapeless, its form shifting like smoke and bone, horns, claws, wings, and a face that was all of them at once. Tyler reached out toward it, entranced. "He's beautiful." "Tyler, no!" Emma screamed. She lunged forward, but Caleb tackled her down as the pit exploded in a blinding red light. When Emma looked up again, Tyler was gone. The hole had sealed shut, the glow fading into silence. Only the faint smell of sulfur remained. The silence that followed was unbearable. No wind, no whispers, just the faint crackle of dying embers where the pit had been. Emma's body trembled as she crawled toward the spot where her brother had stood only moments ago. The stone was warm beneath her hands, pulsing faintly, as though something still moved just beneath the surface. "Tyler," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Please, come back." Caleb stood nearby, breathing hard, his face streaked with ash. "He's gone, Emma. Whatever that thing was, it took him." "No!" She shook her head violently. "I can still feel him. He's here." The candles guttered, their red flames dimming into a sickly orange. From outside, the wind began again, carrying with it the faint sound of church bells, though Stull's bell had been gone for decades. Each toll grew louder, shaking the floor beneath them. Caleb turned toward the door. "We need to get out before—" He froze mid-sentence. The doorway was no longer open. Thick black roots had grown across it, sealing them inside. They twisted and pulsed, dripping with something dark and tar-like. Emma stumbled to her feet. "What's happening?" A deep voice rumbled from the floor, the same voice that had haunted the fog. "The gate cannot close without a soul in exchange." Caleb's eyes widened. "It wants one of us?" The floor beneath the altar cracked open again, this time not fire, but a swirling void, a storm of darkness filled with screaming faces. Emma clutched her chest as the air was sucked toward it, pulling her closer, inch by inch. Caleb grabbed her arm, shouting over the wind, "We can't let it take us! Run, Emma!" But she couldn't move. Through the roar, she heard her brother's voice calling from the pit, faint but unmistakable. "Emma, help me, it's so dark!" Her heart twisted. "Tyler, I'm coming!" "Don't!" Caleb cried. "It's not him! That's how it gets you!" But she was already stepping forward. The force pulling at her grew stronger, her hair whipping around her face. She reached out toward the black swirling pit, tears streaming down her cheeks. For a moment, just a moment, she saw him. Tyler, reaching back, his hand outstretched, his eyes pleading. She took his hand, and a flash of red light engulfed the room, and a scream, hers or his, echoed through the church. The pit sealed shut again, the candles extinguished, and all was silent once more. When Caleb opened his eyes, he was alone. The church was once again a ruin, broken, cold, and lifeless. The red fog had vanished, the graveyard was still. He stumbled outside, shaking, looking up at the night sky. For a moment, he thought he was safe. Then behind him, the bell tower groaned. One final toll rang out, low and hollow. And as Caleb turned back toward the ruins, he saw Emma standing in the doorway. But her eyes were glowing red. And from beneath the earth came the faint, rumbling sound of laughter. The gate had opened, and Stull Cemetery had claimed another soul.